The Dolphins have had an interesting start to this season, the AFC East in general, right? I mean, when we look at the New York Jets, they're not the team that we anticipated they would be because of the Rodgers injury. They win the Hackett Bowl yesterday. The Buffalo Bills have the standalone London game yesterday, and they lose that game to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the Dolphins win yesterday 31-16 over the Giants. Are the Dolphins that good, or is their schedule that easy? Think about this. They have at the Chargers 36-34. They beat the Pats. The Pats stink. 24-17. They destroyed the Broncos 70-20, and then they beat the Giants 31-16. The one really good team they played, or ish, the Bills, they lose 48-20. See, I don't want to take anything away from the Dolphins, but I think Nuno has led us into potentially taking things away from the Dolphins here.
So when I look at the teams that the Miami Dolphins have gone up against, the quality of talent doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence in me. So while I'm so impressed with the offense as a whole, as you say, when they're going, it's the most explosive unit in football. But for me to really believe that they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, which is where I think we should be having the conversation around the Miami Dolphins, I'm going to need to see them beat more people than the Patriots and the Broncos and the Giants.
Well, we're going to get a chance in the next couple of weeks because they've got an easy layup game against the Carolina Panthers at home. Then they're on the road Sunday Night Football against the Eagles. We'll find out about them when they play that team. And then 2 weeks after that, they play the Kansas City Chiefs on the road.
Should the Miami Dolphins and the fan base be happy about beating the New York Giants? The short and obvious answer is yes. Everyone loves the old cliche that a win is a win. And the second most overused cliche is you only play the teams on your schedule. But are those cliches true, or are they just pacifiers in the mouths of many fans? Luckily, there's a lot of you out there with objective minds. So let me be the one to tell you if you haven't figured it out yet. As you saw in that opening clip, a lot of people are now wondering, are the Miami Dolphins for real? The Miami Dolphins are 4-1. They've amassed almost 2,600 yards of offense in the first 5 games, an NFL record. But people are still wondering, are the Miami Dolphins for real? In my preview of the Giants game, I said that I wanted to see the Dolphins ahead 30-0, 28-0 at halftime so they could pull their starters. That didn't happen. Somewhere in the back of your mind, or if you're objective, it's in the front of your mind, that you understand why people are starting to wonder if the Miami Dolphins are for real. The team's wins have come at the expense of some of the worst teams in the league. The Patriots, the Broncos, and the Giants are some of the worst teams in the NFL. And you have to remember that the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, both Super Bowl teams, are right there on the horizon. But in any event, the Miami Dolphins have to be seen with the lackluster teams in the AFC East as the possible and potential winners of the division. With that being said, let's look at the Giants game and my instant reactions, and you can tell me if I'm overreacting to anything I saw in the game.
The good stuff.
Tyreek Hill with 8 catches for 181 yards and a touchdown. I don't know what you do about Tyreek Hill. He's a man on an island. You can't guard him. I cannot believe that the New York Giants made a safety come all the way across the field to guard Tyreek Hill man to man. That's idiocy. That can't happen. He took advantage of it. Tua hit him, touchdown. That was pretty awesome. And Raheem Mostert, he contributes just doing what he does, 10 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown. And of course, you got to give a big old salute, a hat tip to the offensive line. The big guys are opening up holes for Mostert and Achane. They were out there running on screenplays. They were just doing everything. They helped the Dolphins rush for nearly 10 yards per carry. That's awesome.
This was the best.
Devon Achane, nothing more needs to be said. This kid is a superstar in the making. 151 yards on just 11 carries. That's 13.72 yards per carry. 13.72 yards per carry. That's unbelievable.
My offensive player of the game.
There's not much more you can say about this kid. At this point, he has to be the odds-on favorite to be Rookie of the Year. What a bargain for a 3rd-round pick. And he even caught a pass for 14 yards. It seems that the sky is the limit for Devon Achane.
My defensive player of the game.
It's actually possible that Andrew Van Ginkel could cause Bradley Chubb not to be on his team next year. AVG is playing lights out week after week, and this game was no different. He seems to be the one player who seems to be benefiting from Vic Fangio's defense.
Grading the coach.
Mike McDaniel, I have to give you a B once again. For some reason, you are not fully committed to the running game. I don't know what has to be proven so that you do commit. 13 yards a carry, Achane coming off the bench and getting 151 yards, Raheem Mostert 65 yards on 10 carries and a touchdown, the big guys up front just mowing guys down. What do you need to know to prove to yourself that you have a competent running game? There were a number of short yardage plays where you decided to pass instead of run. It doesn't make any sense. Some of your play calling looks too cutesy, like you're trying to outmaneuver things when you can just put the ball in Achane's hand, or put the ball in Mostert's hand, or God forbid on 3rd and 1, put it in Alec Ingold's hands. When your running game is averaging nearly 10 yards per carry, why bother getting cute? And when you have a running game averaging nearly 10 yards per carry, why in the hell would you have Tua Tagovailoa in a position where he has to throw for a touchdown from 2 yards away? Run the damn ball. Vic Fangio, got to give you a C again. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. You're playing against an inferior opponent. Yeah, you got 7 sacks. It was the New York Giants. One of the worst teams in the league, gained 200 yards passing and nearly 100 yards rushing. But the silver lining was the Dolphins did get 7 sacks. I know, the Seattle Seahawks got 11 against the same team. So it's not that big of a deal. And at this point, no one thinks that this team's defense is in a position to win playoff games. Gonna have to fix that real soon. It's really hard to gauge any real proficiency when you're playing against a decimated team with no offensive line, no running back, and a quarterback that doesn't seem to have any idea what he's doing behind the line of scrimmage. The New York Giants are a bad team. They're especially worse without Saquon Barkley. And they're worse again because they don't have any guys up front blocking. Other than that, I can't really grade you. I don't know what's there to look at. The Giants suck.
Don't beat yourself.
I say it every game. Don't beat yourself. Sometimes I say it often during a game. Sometimes the people watching the game with me say, don't beat yourself. This can't continue. This time, against the New York Giants, a really crappy team, he had 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions by Tua, 1 for a pick 6, a fumble by Achane. 3 turnovers isn't going to cut it. 6 penalties for 43 yards isn't going to cut it against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to get that together and stop with the turnovers. I think a big part of it is the complexity of the offense and asking Tua to do too much. Tua should never been in a position to have to throw near the goal line when you got guys averaging 10 yards per carry on the run. Hand the ball off, have faith in the offensive line, and don't put Tua in that kind of position. That's on you, Mike McDaniel. You can escape beating inferior teams with 3 turnovers in a game and 6 penalties. Against playoff caliber teams, you're probably not going to pull out a win with 3 turnovers and 6 penalties for 43 yards. You got to get that together. But overall this week, bottom line, take the win. Just go ahead and take the win, chalk it up, put it in the W column, and just move on. Good thing about beating the Giants is this week you have another JV team in the Carolina Panthers. Just go ahead and don't take them too lightly. Get prepared, get the win, get off the field healthy, and get ready for the Philadelphia Eagles. If I were Mike McDaniel and Vic Fangio, I would begin managing mindset. I would begin managing the practices with a lot more intensity, ramping up to the Philadelphia Eagles game. You're going to have to perform flawlessly. They have a scary defensive front. They have an amazing offensive line. They've got a decent quarterback. You're not going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles the way you played against the New York Giants. So get ready and then carry that on to the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me know what you think. Am I overreacting? I'd love to hear your comments, and don't forget to join me tomorrow for Tua Tuesday. Just click the link here to be notified when I go live. We go live at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Let me know what you guys think. Fins up.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?